Right. Welcome along to another episode of Scottish Football Matters with myself, Murray, and my good friend Lorenzo.
Hello.
This week we're going to have a little chat about the Scottish Cup semi-finals. We'll have a wee touch on the Michael Stewart drama. I have to say I did like him commentating from a van. I thought that was quite funny. And then we'll just have a wee look ahead. We won't do predictions for the return of the Premiership, but we'll just sort of have a look ahead, see where we feel things are going into this final sprint. But aye, how's things? You happy? Are you bipolar, Lorenzo, after yesterday? Because I mean, let's be honest. I thought it was bad being a Rangers fan, watching my team ups and
Mm.
downs. But Jesus Christ, you can go for the worst team in the world to the best team in the world in 4 minutes.
I know, it's
I mean,
crazy.
it's at least Rangers have good halves and bad halves. You have fucking good 5 minutes and
Ah,
terrible 5 minutes.
I know, it was just mental. I mean, to go 2-0 up before half time, you're thinking, great, that's it, we've done it. We should
Yeah, but
hopefully see it out in the second half, but we didn't.
see, if I'm honest, though, I didn't. We'll talk about the game. I suppose we'll start with the first semi-final first, though, because I think
Right.
there's probably less drama in that one. But
hmm
I've got to admit, I thought it was as good a 0-0 as you'll see in terms of effort and everything up to the final third, where there was a real lack of quality with the final ball. And I
Yep.
just think it was the occasion. I don't think it was ability because we know there's good players like Calvin Miller, Barney Stewart,
hmm
the boy Andrew Todd, the boy with the glasses. He looks a player. He looks a real good player for
Why is he? Why
Dunfermline.
is he? Why is he wearing the glasses again?
I'm guessing it's like David's. I'm assuming it's like
Right,
the
because
glaucoma or something.
somebody says to us at the weekend he had an eye injury, but I don't think he's got an injury
I
to
don't
his
know.
eye.
I really don't know. I'm just speculating on that one. I just
Mm.
assumed it was something to do with like the way
Right,
David used to.
maybe it is.
His glaucoma, wasn't it?
Mhm.
But he's a player, by the way. He's a player
Aye,
that he will be in the SPL next year,
he looks
whether
good.
Dunfermline got up or not. I don't know if he's quite ready for the Rangers Celtic jump yet, but at the same time, Rangers and Celtic should be looking at him because they could probably get him a lot cheaper
hmm
now than letting him go to a Hearts or a Hibs, and then you need to pay 4 million for him the way the prices are going through the roof. But I
Yeah.
think there's a real good player there. But I thought, do you know what? I thought Dunfermline were the better side
They
over
were.
the. Don't get me wrong, right? Falkirk had a lot of the ball, but they didn't do a lot with it.
Final
And yeah,
third.
just lack of quality. I think the occasion just got to everyone
Yeah.
because it must be hard. It's a semi-final. As I said before, Falkirk don't go into games favourites often,
No, but they were on
and
Saturday.
they won't go into any game after the split favourites, so they might return to their normal form, which is good.
Aye.
But I watched them against Stenhousemuir earlier in the season, and it was very similar. That they looked nervous. They looked like they didn't quite know how to play on the front foot, even though they are quite a front foot team. But just
Mm.
it was just a different kind of pressure with knowing that you're expected to win. And I
Aye.
think Neil Lennon and his team lapped it up because they loved being the underdogs, and they'll love it again in the final. And
Well, they will.
normally, I would say, right, a final Celtic St Mirren, right? Oh my God, this is Celtic and Fairland. This is going to be one-sided, but I actually don't think it will be. I
No,
still think
I
it'll be
don't think
close
it will either because
because,
Celtic have got that kind of.
and honestly, they kind of looked better defensively than St Mirren did. Like if I'm on it, I don't think. I mean, let's be honest. A lot of the St Mirren stuff you can attribute to them being on their third keeper. Do you know what I mean? In
hmm
a week, and
Space a week. Yep.
that must be quite difficult for the young 17-year-old who, by the way, didn't do anything wrong, but when the goals started to pile in extra time, I felt bad for the boy because he's just a
Aye.
kid.
Yeah.
But no, I think Dunfermline fully merited their win. I think they're in with a right good chance.
hmm
I'm
Well,
not sure how good it would be for Scottish football because
it'll
I
be
think
a
if they went into the
hard
Europa
game.
League qualifying, that would be mental.
Well, that is going to be a bit mental because if Celtic won the league, then and won the cup, then they would get a slot in Europe. Am I right in saying that?
No, 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 no. It would go to the league place. It would probably go to. Well, no. Basically, Dunfermline only get into Europe if they win the cup.
All right, do they?
Aye.
That's not very fair. If Celtic
Yeah,
win the
it
league,
is.
though, But if
No, it
Celtic
doesn't
win the
matter. They
league,
should go to the next place in the league, the top league. They're a championship team for a reason.
I know I get that.
They're
But
not
if
even
you,
the best team
but
in the championship.
the fact that you're playing in a cup final,
I don't even
but
think the cup winners should get in the Europa League.
has that not happened before though? Like I don't mean
It
that a
used
lower
to,
league
yeah,
team,
a couple of decades ago. It used to be
but
that if
like
you're a runner up,
if you won the league, but
aye,
if you won the league and the cup, the team that played in the cup final,
yeah,
they get a European spot, didn't they?
yeah, but
They did.
because it was stupid, they changed it to the league team. Because
Hmm.
let's be honest, Motherwell or Hibs are far more
They'll still get put out in a
deserving.
qualifier, but
No,
they'll
but
still get put out in a qualifier.
they're still more deserving of a European place than a championship team who has a
Aye, they are.
good
But
cup run. No disrespect to them, but I don't even think the cup winners should be getting in the Europa League. I'd be giving that to the Conference League and putting my better teams in the Europa League qualifying.
all right.
I want Motherwell in the Europa League, not Dunfermline,
I know, but I
because
just
we
think
need to get this
it's a
coefficient
bit
up
unfair.
because it's went to shit. But
Well, it is.
that's
The
one of the
coefficient's
conversations.
bad.
I do think we should we'll have a good one at the end of the season on that. Maybe do one after the league finishes and before the World Cup. Do one looking at the Scottish coefficient because
It's rotten.
it's rotten and it's going to get a lot worse before it gets a lot better.
Oh, if it ever
But
gets better.
well, we said that when Rangers went out of the league, and what happened? Rangers came back in the league, and we turned it around almost single-handedly. But we turned it around single-handedly because you can get the advantage of, because you didn't have a coefficient, you start off against weaker teams,
Hmm.
and you can build up. And we got to play some duff teams in some of the early Europa League qualifying. But it
Yeah.
certainly helped us bring up the coefficient. And then when we were getting into the group stage, we more than held our own against really big teams. So no, I think all the teams in Scotland really need to look at the coefficient and that's what I'm saying about. I don't think a Scottish Cup winner should be getting it because sometimes that can be a bit of a fluke. You can fluke a cup. People say you can't fluke
Hmm.
a cup win, but you can because you
can.
can get easy draws.
That's right.
And you can beat who's in front of you, and that's
You
great.
can,
But
you can get drawn at home in every round and all.
and you can't finish fourth in the SPL or fifth in the SPL with like penalty shootouts and things like that. Do you know what I mean? You need to be the fourth best team in the country.
Hmm.
So no, but I think credit to Dunfermline. We've gone off topic there. They
The
deserve to be in the
penalties.
final.
The
Their
penalties were
penalties
good.
were
Obviously,
excellent.
Falkirk's first couple of penalties were poor. I mean, obviously they hit the
Aye,
post and then
the post one was unlucky actually. I thought that was a good
aye,
penalty. I mean,
it was all
that
right.
hits the inside of the post and goes in. Everyone's going, oh, belter.
Hmm.
But the second penalty was quite poor. But
Aye.
I think fair play to the keeper. He made himself big. He looked big in
Hmm.
those goals. Oxborough.
Aye, and fair play to Dunfermline because they could have just bottled it in the penalties. I mean, obviously with the occasion and all
I just
that.
don't think the
But
pressure was on them. The
no,
whole
the
day.
pressure wasn't on them.
And I
But
don't think the pressure will be on them in the final. And I think they'll, if they can get through the first 15 minutes, right,
hmm
because they will be nervous because it's a cup final. If
yeah,
they get through that, I think they're right in it. And but it's not getting blown away in that occasion of the first 15-20 minutes.
hmm if
But
Celtic can get a grip on the game early, although they did yesterday and it didn't
I
really work.
think,
But
aye, I mean, but that's the thing. Celtic always give you a chance. And we're
aye,
supposed to get on to Celtic. I mean, I've got to admit, you might disagree with this, right? But I thought 2-0 flattered in the first half because although it looked good, and when you compare it to the second half, it was good. But
hmm
you scored a goal that was a goalie mistake, right? But that fair play, right?
aye, but
Because
that's pressure for the
aye,
press for
aye,
Maeda,
because
which he deserved
but
that because he's been doing that for ages and he did
no,
deserve
but
it.
what I'm going to say is St Mirren did the same thing to use and didn't get the wee break of luck with bouncing
Aye,
off you and going in
what
the
hit
net.
him? But it hit his
Like
arm, and I think that they blew up for that.
no,
The
no,
referee
but I'm
blew up
just
for that.
saying there was a couple other ones where like they pressured and they didn't get the break of luck because they
Hmm.
did all the same things Maeda did and pressing well and I just think sometimes those goals are down to a wee bit of luck because it depends
Yeah.
what part of the body it hits off. You seen the
Aye.
one yesterday? I don't know if you've seen the Man City game. Donnarumma
No.
hits it straight off Havertz and it goes in.
And it goes in.
Yeah,
I
but
did
that
see
comes
that, and I
off.
thought it was very
That comes
similar to
off.
the Maeda
But
goal.
that comes off a different part of your body. It goes wide or over the bar. And
Hmm.
it is a bit of luck with those things where they
Hmm.
end up in the net. But I genuinely think. I mean, if you look at like Engels hit the post right. Good goal. Yeah, good effort. Ralston scores an absolute peach. But you
Did
need
we
to
not
remember,
also hit the bar as well? We hit the bar as well.
Sinisalo obviously made a
Um,
brilliant save for a corner. I
mhm.
just felt, see if I was watching it, I felt 2-0 flattered Celtic at half time.
Well,
Even though
the
Celtic were
first
good.
half, I mean, well, what happened in my assessment, we scored obviously early, and I thought, great, we've got an early goal, this will hopefully settle us down. But we didn't really do much after that, up until we got the
No.
second goal before half time. But
And honestly, in between that though, with all the Sinisalo pissing about with the pass backs and
that was
a couple of good saves,
terrible.
I genuinely felt it was harsh on St Mirren that they hadn't got a goal to get back in it in the first half. But the second half they came out with a great attitude, and Celtic came out with a terrible attitude
I
because
knew I could
Celtic
see it
looked like
coming
they'd won the
when
game.
they get their goal back.
And I'll put that in a similar comparison with when Rangers in the cup, Rangers in the league against Hughes came out with a different attitude in the second half, and Celtic came out with a brilliant attitude. And some people will praise one, but you need to look at both things. You need to look at Celtic's poor attitude as well as St Mirren's great attitude. Just like you did that day, and go, well, Rangers went off the boil, but Celtic went on it. But I think St Mirren after 90 minutes fully deserved extra time.
I would say they did because they obviously played better in the second half than we did.
And one thing I would say is, even though your subs ended up doing well in extra time, St Mirren's subs impacted the game more in normal time. When they were making subs, they were getting them up the park, and your players were just, they looked lost. For about 10 minutes, well, but about 75 to 85 minutes, I genuinely thought Celtic looked like a pub team. They couldn't keep the ball. See, McGregor went off. Was that about 75?
I've run about that, aye.
Right. When he went off,
took Engels off as well, but Engels is coming back for injury, and he's had an injury as well, so that's the reason they took them off.
I know McGregor's been guff, right, but the lack of control in that midfield when it was it Oxley, Chamberlain, McCowan, and Negron.
Aye, they came.
And by the way,
on.
they're all great going that way forward, right? But the lack of control in protecting a ropey defence, let's be honest, all I'm saying is, if Celtic play like that in any of these last 5 league games, they will not win a league. They will not even come close. But
I can't argue with that.
In the same token, if Celtic play with the intensity and the energy that they played with in the extra time, they could squish the league.
I know that. But that's what annoys me.
But at the same time, Celtic haven't shown that 6-minute spell enough this season. And I know you'll say,
where did that come from?
Rangers showed it against Falkirk, but you've seen that building over a few games with like 4 against Dundee United, 4 against. This did feel like a one-off for Celtic.
I hope it's not, though.
But they can build on it. Because I felt like the Aberdeen game, that could just be a one-off because Aberdeen are shit. But Rangers built on it against a better Dundee United and then against probably a better Falkirk. So Celtic can use this to springboard into the league.
Hopefully.
But will they? Because
I hope they do.
There's a real lack of balance in that midfield. And if your best striker's a sub, you could be out of the games by the time he gets on.
What's annoying me is the fact that is he fit enough to come to play for the start and play for 60 minutes? I don't know if he is. I'd love it if he was, because I would prefer to start with you and actually try and build up a lead and then you take him off.
You can win a game in an hour. Like, go and put your best players. So there's even a case to...
What about 3 goals, 4 goals?
To drop Yang and start James Forrest, because Forrest could give you a better hour. And maybe Yang's energy would actually be quite good as an impact sub.
I heard also Martin O'Neill's saying that he wants to give Forrest another year's contract.
I don't think it'll be up to Martin O'Neill. I think it'll be up to James Forrest.
I think he'll stay for another year. I think he will.
I think if he wants it, he will, eh?
He will. I think he will stay for another year.
But I always say this, like, if you do win something, he might want to go out as a winner.
Maybe.
And I don't know how he'd feel about if he wants to continue or he'd want to go to another club.
No, I don't think he would go.
I've always felt he could go somewhere like Australia or America and just earn a bit of money.
No, but he came out and said a while ago that if Celtic ever didn't give him a new contract, he would just chuck playing football. That was it. He wouldn't go anywhere else.
I think he'd be daft not to go to like America and just get extra money and enjoy the heat.
I don't think he bothers me things like that, to be honest with you.
No, but I'm just saying,
the type of guy that
if you can get one more year, well, I mean, especially when you see all these nuggets like Jack Hendry's kicking about in Saudi, getting more money than we can dream of,
I know,
and
and he's
he's a
shit.
well, he's not shit, but he's no better than the
Skills.
other Scotland centre.
He's
Exactly, but
not.
Scales is probably on about what 15, 20 grand a week,
Aye,
and Jack Hendry's probably on about 60. It's mental.
I know. I know. It's
But
crazy.
and he's maybe gone to Benzema's team, isn't he? So
Is he?
mental.
But
But
that was for me. That was the craziest 6 minutes I've seen of football for Celtic
it
for a
was,
long time.
and I don't think people should say that. Oh, Celtic were great and they played with intensity. I know that
Intensity.
St Mirren's head went down after a goal, right? They did, like, you could see the players visibly deflate.
Oh,
But
aye, they
you
were.
need to
They
take
looked to me as
advantage.
if
And Celtic,
they were knackered. St Mirren. I think they put everything into the second half to get
aye.
the equaliser, and then they were just knackered. And I think
And you need
extra
to
time.
remember that Celtic haven't shown that ruthlessness
No,
barely
no,
any this season.
I can't remember the last time we scored
So
6 goals.
I think sometimes I know you can take pity on a 17-year-old in goals in a team that's completely on their arse, but
They
you
should have
don't
done
want
that
them to.
earlier in the game, though. Shouldn't you have
I,
taken
I,
extra
but I
time to
don't.
do that?
I don't think they have the quality to do that though, because
Well, they did when
when
they came off
other
the bench.
yeah, but the other team had the quality. St Mirren were showing the intensity that Celtic should have shown in the second half,
Mm-hmm.
and it was only when St Mirren's intensity dropped in extra time because I think they felt like they'd done their job, they got back in it. Whereas sometimes when you do so well to make it 2 each, go and do everything you are doing to go and
I
make it
think
3-2 or 4, put the foot on the gas. Because
I think what's
I've got to
happened.
admit, see the first 2 minutes extra time,
Mm-hmm.
it was St Mirren were on the front foot.
They were a wee
And
bit.
then, Celtic's goal kind of came at against the run of play. But
But I
then
think what's
5 minutes,
happened.
they just blitzed it.
I think what's happened is Martin O'Neill's put the bullet up their asses at full time to say to them, look, you need to get into this cup final. You can't
No,
be
but
pussyfooting
see if
about.
he did, right? Well, why isn't he saying that at half time?
I don't know. I just don't get
Because
it.
I don't think you can give Martin O'Neill credit for that when
Well, the
a,
substitutions he made
no,
were
but a
good
good.
because they made an impact.
I'm sorry, but a good manager would have had them putting their foot on the throat at half time. Not, and this is a problem is with Celtic is they cannot, and I mean cannot,
But this
put a
team have got
90-minute performance together.
players. The players aren't good enough. They're no.
They're still the best paid players in the country.
I know, I get that,
They're
but
still
you've got
your
players there
players
who were brought in on
are,
loan.
and
He's not even getting a look in because
I get that right,
they're
but
shite.
every one of your strikers, right, has been paid more in a week or two than a Junga gets in a year.
Aye, well,
But Yona Ayunga and Michael Mandron were ragdolling you. Whereas Adamu can't go on the pitch. Transfara wasn't even in the squad.
he wasn't in the squad.
Ian Acho's a great striker, but he's got fitness issues, clearly.
Aye.
I mean, even in extra time, he was blowing out his arse.
That's because he's just no fit. But
Yeah,
see
no,
if
but
can you imagine if he was fit? Imagine what he'd be able to do if he was 100% fit.
I don't. People say
See
that
this.
about.
I mean,
But people say
his header was a
John
cracker,
Sterling,
but
there's
see the
no such
second goal he
thing.
scored. The second
Yes,
goal he scored was an absolute
yeah,
peach.
it is, but there's no such thing as a fit Ian Acho. Just like there's no such thing as a fit. Every Rangers fan I know, right, goes, imagine if John Sterling was fit. No such thing, mate. No such thing. Because he's been here for years and he's never proven that he can go 10, 15 games in a row fully fit. If he could, he wouldn't be here.
Same
Sterling
with
would
Ian
be,
Acho as well. I mean, Ian Acho's only
Sterling
29.
would be ripping it up in the Premiership
Ian
if
Acho
he
should be
could
getting
stay
into
fit.
his prime years in
I know,
29.
but even Martin O'Neill described him as a 29 going on 49.
Aye, I
Like
know. But he shouldn't be like that.
but maybe he just hasn't looked after his body.
I don't know. It's
I
a
think,
very strange.
but I think when you come through at teams like Man City and you think you've made it, and then he went to Leicester and he did do okay, but I think he just dropped off a cliff when he felt he'd made his money, and then he ended up pissing about and they not go to Turkey and stuff, and then he ended up in Spain at Sevilla. But at the end of the day, he's always been one of those strikers that you go, he's got ability. That's no in question. But
he's a class act. He is.
But I don't think you can rely on him in these 5 games for the reason that I don't know how many minutes you can get out of him.
For
But
me, he's
if
the
he plays
best
for,
one I've got.
no, I agree. But if he plays well for 20 minutes in all 5 games, that might be enough to win all 5 games.
Well, if he can
But the
do what he
problem
did
is
in the 6 minute spell that he blew them away yesterday, if he can do that in the rest of the games between the now and end of the season,
yeah,
I'll be happy.
I'd love it. But
But,
see if Trimiti could do what he can do in 6 minutes, sometimes
mhm.
he'd be worth 100 million. But he can't. There's a reason that
Well, if he was worth
he has.
100 million, he wouldn't be at Rangers.
That's what I'm saying. Though, do you know what I mean? Like if you look at his 15 minutes against Celtic, right, where he scores the overhead kick and then the classy second.
Mm-hmm.
If he could put that together, game after game after game after game, he would be playing at a top team
I know
in a
that.
top league. I know he's only 21. We're talking about different ends of their career, but I just think it's very difficult for players who are, should we call them purple patch strikers? Because I think that's what they are. They're very patchy. Like we had Kenny Miller was exactly that. That he was such a purple patch striker. Like when he scored one, he could score in a game, but then he can go 10 games without scoring.
It was the same when he was at Celtic.
And then
He was good for a spell, and then he was kind of rotten for the rest of it.
and then also when he ran through on goal, you never felt he was going to score. But when he had something caught it on the volley for the most impossible angle, it goes in. You go, what? How does that even make sense? but I think Ian Archel is a good player, and I think if we can bring this on to obviously the title race because Celtic need more than an Archel and Forrest, right? But
they need to try and keep Ian Archel as fit as possible.
I mean, what do you do though? Do you start him then? And because I don't think you can start 5 games, right?
No, you wouldn't start him every game, but you'd maybe start him. I'd maybe start him against Falkirk.
But why wouldn't you keep him for
Rangers
the
and
tougher games like
Hearts?
Hibs, Rangers, and Hearts?
Maybe, I don't know.
But then,
would we have enough without him playing to get by Falkirk? Do you think? I don't know.
And also, I'm not going to diss him, right? Because we could say the complete opposite about Trimiti. But I don't know that Ian actually scored against a top 6 team, has he? Maybe a penalty against Motherwell.
Possibly. I can't remember.
Maybe the one that Maeda scored later. Did he score a penalty in that game? I vaguely remember him scoring a penalty, right? But he hasn't scored against Rangers, hasn't scored against Hearts, hasn't played a lot, if we're being totally honest. I'm not trying to put the boot in here. But what I'm saying is
no, because he's been bloody injured for the majority of it.
I agree, but I'm just saying that you might need players that can be relied upon in terms of knowing these games, and that's why I hear a lot of Celtic fans saying drop McGregor, but you need McGregor for these games. Yeah, but you can as a footballer, but not for a goal though.
No as a goal scorer.
But
he'd be better playing behind the striker, Shivanshara, I think.
Yeah. But be honest, how let's just go for this one, right? Let's just take it one game at a time.
Right.
We can't look beyond Falkirk and Motherwell for us and Hibs for Hearts. How would you line up to win that game against Falkirk? Based on what you've seen at the weekend, and also based on the fact that maybe what you've seen for Falkirk at the weekend, what you've seen for them against us. I know it's a different game at Parkhead as it is when you go to Falkirk, but how would you go out to win that game? How would you line it up?
Well, I would have Sonny Zalo in goals. Obviously, the back four would be the same as what it was yesterday, probably with Scales back in, because you know he's going to come back. I wouldn't put him back in, but you know he's coming back in.
So Ralston, Scales, Trusty, Tierney.
Aye. No, wait a minute. And well, I don't know if Johnson will be back to start, but he's
not to start. No, but
he'll be on the bench.
You get 20 minutes, aye.
He'll be on the bench, and the midfield will be.
This is a tough one.
McGregor will be playing. And I would me personally, I would go with Oxlade, Chamberlain, and Engels. I don't know. Can they play together?
We could, aye. But who's the most forward thinking? You putting Oxlade at the top of that?
Probably. And then I would bring Negrin off the bench because he's more an impact player. I know he scored yesterday because he'd been playing for the start. I get that, but he doesn't always score.
Who's your front three then?
I would start with him, but I would put Iheanacho through the middle. I would put Maeda out on the left, and Forrest on the right.
Right, so then you've got Yang, Taneke,
Possibly
Chanspara.
Osmond possibly on the bench.
I think he's more likely to be the Hibs game, I've heard.
You think so? All right. Oh well.
I think he's about a week behind Johnson, I've heard.
Right.
So,
but at least he's back anyway. He's back training, so that's a good sign.
Yeah. But honestly, I said it before. I don't think you're going to get anything out of that boy for this season. I think it's about next season.
You don't know.
You don't know.
I'll never say never.
I just think the boys needs a good pre-season and see if he can kick on for the small sample that we've seen, because it looked decent for the small. I mean, but it's an incredibly small sample.
I know that, but
we can't.
You just never know. I mean, he might have kicked on had he been able to play and not get injured, and he probably would have scored a hell of a lot more goals. And we might even be further up the table and whatever now as well.
But he might have just been the exact same as Johnny Kenny.
But we'll never know.
We don't know because it's such a small sample size. We don't know if he can actually finish when he goes through.
For me, in the games I seen him playing in, he looked sharper and he looked better than Johnny Kenny.
Yeah, but it's such a small sample size, because I've seen Johnny Kenny score, a double against Falkirk early in the season. I've seen him score against Rangers in that game.
Aye.
There's a player in him, but I also seen him play against Rangers and missed 5 chances.
Exactly.
But because you've got a bigger sample
I don't know if Osmond would do that though. If he had 5 chances against Rangers, I don't think he would miss them.
He did miss 3 in that cup semi-final, because we were the 10-man member.
But remember, he had played a lot. Johnny Kenny had played a lot more than him. So if he'd have had the starts that Johnny Kenny had, he might have.
I'm just saying, like, he missed. I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, he was up against a top keeper in Butland. I mean, like, sometimes the keepers are going to make good saves. I think Butland came out and spread himself really well on Osmond, one that he was free on goal. But I mean, I don't know. I think so. That's how you would go. And
probably aye.
Yeah. With Rangers, I think it's about
either that or you put Maida up front, and you have.
He doesn't offer anything though.
I know, but you'd maybe. Well, he did yesterday when he ran through like that. So if he's got that in him, he's got that in him. So it's always there.
I put it this way: I'm hoping he plays all your games.
What, Maida?
The less time that Ian Atchell has on that pitch, and it's Maida who can't kick his own arse, I'm all for it, because he can't finish, and that's the thing. And I mean, his goal comes because he's good at pressing. No one can ever doubt that. But there's not an ounce of quality finish in him at the moment. He's not.
Last season he was quality, but
but I remember Lovencrantz looking quality, but it didn't mean he was a good finisher. He just had a purple patch. It's as simple as that. And Maida's proved that over his career. He's not a finisher. He'll get you goals, but he's not. He doesn't strike the ball like a player that is confident in front of goal. Everything's lashed, and sometimes they were just getting lashed in the net last season. Well, that was it. It was just they were going in. But if we switch focus, obviously, to Rangers against Motherwell, I think I still think this is the toughest game we have after the split. I know people will go, "What? You're going to Parkhead and you're going to Tynecastle." I know that, but the games will take care of themselves. And actually, I'm more confident about Rangers' ability to soak up pressure against Celtic and Hearts and maybe hit on the counter. We can't do that against Motherwell, Hibs and Falkirk. Rangers need to show front foot attacking ability. And I'm still not 100%, even though what we've shown is little bits recently where I've seen more of it, I'm still not confident that we can put that together game after game and be an attacking team.
Yeah.
So it's weirdly, I'm more confident by the Celtic and Hearts games in terms of, not in terms of results, but in terms of, I know how we'll play. I know that we'll sit up there and go, right, okay, come at us, and we'll try and just pick you off. Whereas this is this is the toughest game. And with me, I think it's about fitness. So hopefully Romans is back, because you see it with some of your players. When your best player isn't in the position, the backup, there can be a big drop-off sometimes.
That's right, it can be.
And I think, no disrespect to Magoma, because he's, 19? But there's a massive drop-off between two Romans and Jaden Magoma. In terms of
two Romans don't make a right.
Just in terms of his the physicality, like, I mean, you've seen it yourself against Celtic. Like, he's a big boy. He's over 6 foot. He's fast. He's strong. Whereas Magoma looks a bit weak, and you can get at him.
Mm-hmm.
So I think if we can get Robbins back in the team, if we can get Sterling back at right back, stick with Giga and Fernandez, obviously Butland. The midfield speaks
I
for
see
itself.
you're no mentioning Scott Wilson. You obviously don't fancy him.
I'm not went to that yet. I'm only I'm
Alright,
going into my
right.
midfield, but no, he isn't
Right.
my team. But
Well, there you go.
I would go personally, right, for this one. I would go Raskin and Chukwani. I would go Gassama left. I would drop Moore to the bench.
Mm-hmm.
Similar reason to you with the whole Yang thing, and that I think he can maybe offer more as a sub if it isn't working.
Yeah.
I can't believe I'm saying this, but I'd go Asgard because he's playing quite well. He is though. He's playing. I still wouldn't play him ever against Celtic or Hearts, but I'd play him against the teams that don't get in your face
Right.
because he wants too much time on the ball. You can't get that in a derby, or you certainly don't get it at Tynecastle. Don't get a fucking second to breathe at Tynecastle.
Yes,
So
you don't.
So you can't play Asgard in those two games, but you can play him at Ibrox, if you get what I mean, in terms of you do have that wee bit more time to get on the ball. But Motherwell are a good team, so they won't give us, the whole pitch to do what we want. But I think so Asgard, Gassama, and I'd go Ant-Man on the right wing, and I would
Ant-Man.
start Shamiti, so that you've got Miovski to come off the bench if we need to go the two up front, Tavernier if we need to whip in a good ball. You've got Diomande, Scott Wilson,
Tavernier if you get a penalty.
Moore.
Late one in the game.
Anyone can hit a penalty. I mean, he's got a great record with him, but I've always said this: I want my strikers hitting penalties, and when Tavernier does finally chuck it, you will. Often people like say, "Oh, Rangers strikers don't score enough," but Rangers strikers don't get to hit penalties. Remember that?
I know.
Like Boyd and Miller. I mean, don't get me wrong; they were far superior than what we have right now, right? But their numbers were inflated by penalties because
Well,
even
you
throughout
used to get
all the
a lot of them.
years, no, we always do. Even your striker, when Larson scored penalties, Sutton scored. You've all had penalty takers that get goals. Gary Hooper, Scott McDonald, good strikers should be hitting your penalties, right? But unfortunately, since the 10 years that we've had Tavernier, he's taken them because he's been all right at them. But I think that people used to criticise Dessers, right, and go, "Oh, he scores like 15 to 20," but if he was hitting penalties in any of the 3 seasons he was at Rangers, right?
20 goals is all right.
No, I know, but that was more on the fact that he's. We're saying that this year, though.
Because
We're just saying that this.
Ida scored 20 last year. I mean, if Ida was in that team now, Ida would have scored about 20 this season. Easy.
No, but even that, though, 20 isn't enough at Rangers and Celtic.
No, but I think 20, if Ida hit 20 this season, I think 20 would have been enough to get us up to the top of the league.
But Negron's hit 20, and is that enough?
No, but you
is it enough,
would have
though?
two. But you would have two and 20. You'd have him in 20, and then you would have Ida as well.
You can't guarantee that, though, because you need Celtic's chance creation has been the problem this year. But anyway, back to the Rangers. I think I would go. That's how I would go with Trimiti, and then you've got your options to change it. But I genuinely, Motherwell's. I know you should only look at one game at a time, but it's the scariest game for me. Because I think no disrespect, I'm not being harsh on Hearts or Celtic or Hibs or Falkirk, but they're the best team we will come up against in terms of their ability to control the football match.
What time's your game kick off at on Sunday?
3 o'clock on Sunday.
3 o'clock kick off.
It's no on TV, but
that's a bit weird that it's no on TV. It's an away game as well, and it's not on the telly.
No, it's home. It's Ibrox. It's Ibrox. Remember, this is only our set. We've got home.
But we're at home this weekend.
I know, so are we, because that's just the way the fixtures have landed. That's why
I didn't know that could happen. I didn't realise that. I know that we're playing in different days. I get that, but normally when we're at home, you're away, and vice versa.
But both away in match day 2. Usually at Easter Road, and we're at Tynecastle, but because it's different days, that's how they've done it. So they've done the 2 Glasgow games one weekend, 2 Edinburgh games the next weekend, but different days to make sure the police are all right. But no, I think Motherwell will. I'm pretty sure of this, right? Motherwell will get at least half the ball, right? Maybe more, right? They'll keep the ball off us. And can Rangers do what Hearts and Celtic did? Can we beat them 3-1? Now, don't get me wrong, right? penalties, red cards, things like that have had a big impact in those games. I don't think anyone would be naive enough to say it hadn't, because let's be honest, Hearts Motherwell was 1 each with 5 minutes to go. Celtic Motherwell was 1 each up until the penalty and the red card. I'm not saying they weren't penalties, red card. I'm just no getting into that. But what I'm saying is, without those decisions, Motherwell are not an easy team to put away. So if Rangers can find a way to win, then my confidence level will go through the roof, I think. Because, as I said, I think I'm not being. We'll get to the predictions properly on Friday, right? But I don't think Hearts win right on Sunday at Easter Road. Right, they're not winning that derby.
You think it's a draw then, or do you think Hibs are winning it?
I don't know. I'm gonna.
We'll discuss that at the weekend. Obviously,
they come away with more than a point, right? Which means if Rangers do win that game, Rangers would be top, and Celtic would be. So I think going, and I'm just not talking about Celtic right now, but talking about Rangers' perspective, going ahead of Hearts before we play Hearts could be massive. Because you could go to Hearts, beat them, and essentially, do you put Hearts out of it? I mean, I'm not saying about it, right? But if Hearts lost their first 2 games, right, to Hibs and Rangers, which could happen, and Rangers
they could obviously Celtic could beat Hearts as well.
I know, but we'll just.
But that's the last day, isn't it?
Do you think that if Rangers get 6 points, Hearts get 0, so that's 6. So if Rangers were 5 clear of Hearts with 3 to play, I don't think they catch us. Even though we've got used to play, but they've got used to play.
But what if we win our 2 games and on, we're right up your.
Well, no, I'm not saying use it. I'm just saying Hearts. I'm saying, do you think Hearts would be out of it if they lost their first 2 games?
I would suggest so.
Because
if you lose 2 games in a row, then
if you win your 2 games, right, yous would be 3 ahead of them, and we'd be 5 ahead of them.
I would think so. I
don't think they'd be. I don't think they'd be out of catching yous, because 3 points is just 1 game.
I know.
But
they're out of the title race. But we wouldn't be out of the title race if we were still
of course
2 points behind you.
No, but I just think Rangers need to look at it in a selfish way and go,
ifs and buts.
Win the next 3 games, and you've got a great chance of winning this league. Because if you can beat Celtic, Hearts, and Motherwell, with no disrespect to Hibs and Falkirk, they're the easier games.
Well, what happens if you win the 2 games and we win your 2 games and we beat yous and we go above yous?
Well, yous would go ahead, but I think that our last 2 games are easier than yours. So even if we were a point behind yous, right? If
even if Hearts are out at that point, if Hearts lose the 2 games and Hearts are out and we play them on the last day.
because you need to go to Motherwell.
I know.
On that Wednesday night,
the midweek.
All I'm saying is you go to Motherwell on a Wednesday night and we're at home to Hibs. I think there's a big difference there in terms of quality. And also, if Hearts are out of the title race, but what if they're not out of catching one of us to finish second and get the Champions League? And that could be massive for Hearts.
Aye, I know.
So if Hearts were, like, let's just say 3 behind Celtic with a better goal difference, and let's just say 2 behind Rangers, so going into the last day, they're going to go to try and beat you, regardless of whether, because they'll be thinking if we win our game, then we can finish ahead of them. That's enough, So there's going to be loads of twists and turns. No one is winning 5 games. No one. I think, has it not only been done once?
Probably. I think
Brendan
so.
Rodgers
Because normally, we went invincible, didn't we? So
no, but that included draws.
I know that. No, that's
what I'm saying. But you've only won all 5 games once, and it was 3 years ago when it was Clermont, where you finished the season really, really well. But Rangers actually,
I don't think we can win 5 games in a row, but you just never know if Celtic can turn up the way they turned up in that game yesterday for the 5 minutes. If they can do that,
the difference is with Celtic is you are 3 behind and you are 2. But you need 2 teams to. I don't know, 2 teams to drop points, but I'm saying if you do drop points, you then are probably more reliant on other teams dropping points.
That's right.
But while it's still in your hands, you've got to be confident.
Aye, well, it's still in our hands. So
I'm confident, but
I'm not entirely confident. But
I do think that the Motherwell game will tell you a lot about Rangers. I don't think you'll let Celtic go and beat Falkirk, right? I don't think we're going to know if they're going to be champions based on that game. I think you're going to learn a lot more about Celtic when they go to Easter Road,
right?
Because that's the first big test for me. you go to Easter Road,
That's a Sunday, isn't it? I know it's about
knowing
half
that
12. Is that half
Rangers and
12?
Motherwell, knowing that Rangers and Motherwell play Rangers Hearts play the next day, you're going to have an opportunity to, because let's be honest, that's the weekend that you go, if we win our game, we gain on someone.
Aye, and then we're putting pressure on you as well. So
yeah, by going first.
Aye.
So it's that's going to be the first 2 weekends. I mean, don't get me wrong, the Old Firm game will be massive, right? But the first 2 weekends are going to be the first
And
weekend.
I just hope we can use that to our advantage and get the victories in the 2 games. Well, we're going to play first.
Yeah, I mean, because that's the benefit for Celtic is that you're playing first in the first 2 match days.
Aye. Mm-hmm.
And Rangers and Hearts will need to kind of watch and see. But then I think Hearts have got the trickier one, I think, this weekend because they play third. So although they kick off before the Rangers game finishes, because I think they kick off at 4:30 and we start at 3, so we'd probably still have 15, 20 minutes left.
Aye.
But if Celtic have won and Rangers are winning, they go onto that pitch nervous. They do.
Aye, they could do. Aye.
Now, there's no guarantee that Rangers would go on to win. You just don't know. But they're not going to be thinking about that once a game kicks off. But they'd know about it at half time as well, which also would bring its own pressure as well. Because if they were drawing 0-0 and they found out at half time that Rangers won and they knew that Celtic had won, what's the mentality? Is it do we hold on? Do we try too hard to get a win? And there's going to be, and you need to remember that Rangers don't have a lot of title winners in their squad, right? They do have some from other countries, right? Which you can't. It's still a quality that you need in your squad. But I don't think Hearts have got many, if any.
Probably not. No.
Whereas I look at obviously Celtic are the most, battle hardened.
I would still say that Hearts are in the position they're in solely based on the fact that Celtic and Rangers have been absolutely honking this season.
I don't think solely based on that, but I think it's based on the fact that they run their club better than Rangers and Celtic have.
Well, they have. But would you not think that's a factor? But the fact that Celtic and Rangers have both been under par this season.
Yeah, but you still need to take advantage of that. It's like saying if Celtic play fish, the other team should win. It doesn't always happen. Though.
I know that.
Sometimes you find a way to win. Like in Rangers and Celtic, yes, they've shot themselves in the foot, but you still need to be there to take advantage. And let's be honest, everyone thought Hearts would have fallen away, and there's 5 games to go, and they're still top.
They might still.
But they're not going to fall away. They might not win the league, right? But they're not going to fall away. As in,
no,
they're not going to lose all 5 games.
They could still finish third though, even though they're top.
Yeah, no, I still think they will, but I don't think that's falling away. I think that's just you're in a 3-way title race.
Finishing third for being top for the majority of the time they've been top. That's mental.
This season, finishing third isn't going to seem like a normal third because you could be 2 points behind first.
Aye, you could.
So in a normal season, you finish third, and it's like get the pitchforks out. It's like behind. You know what I mean? You can be. I'd expect that to be 20 points behind.
Aye, 20 to 30 points behind, depending on the.
But this year, you could finish. I mean, let's be honest. You could finish third on the same points, and I mean, you could lose it on goal difference.
Obviously, lose it in goal difference. Well,
I mean, there's a scenario.
Celtic aren't going to win it in goal difference because
there is a scenario though that Rangers or Hearts could win the league on goal difference, and Celtic could be third on 80 points. 80 points, and you could finish third.
It doesn't bear thinking of it.
But first place finishes first with 80 points. I mean, so what I'm saying is, like if Hearts finish third, I don't think it's they've bottled it. I think it's just that they haven't gained.
Well, it's not a bad season for Hearts because let's face it, every other season they'd be happy with third, wouldn't they?
Yeah, but I don't think Hearts will be thinking like that. I think they'll be thinking at a bare minimum they'll want to split us.
Aye.
At a bare minimum, they'll want to finish second.
That's right.
Get the Champions League qualifier, which, by the way, they'll get pumped in. But let's be honest, we'll probably get pumped in it too.
So will we,
but, and I think we'll talk about that when we know the final standings, because I think, as I said, the coefficient could take a battering. If, let's be honest, like say Celtic had a disastrous end to the season, right? And Hearts got in the Champions League qualifying and Dunfermline got in Europa League qualifying. What does that do for?
Well, that knackers it.
Knackers it because the teams probably ain't picking up many, if any, points. But then Celtic going to the Conference League could be a redemption for that, because Celtic could get really far. Look at Shakhtar this year; they're in the semi-finals. And
but this is another thing I know. Who are we going to sign that's going to be good enough to play in that competition? I mean, we've not signed a lot of decent players this season, and yet we're talking about you call it the Conference League. I mean, bloody
I'll
hell.
tell you one that you should be going for. I don't know if he's out your reach, right? But Troy Parrott.
Aye, I wouldn't mind something
He's
like
a
him.
player playing at AZ Alkmaar, right?
A striker, isn't he?
Good level. Good level. Decent Irish striker. I think you can get him for about 5-6 million.
Will Celtic go for him though? That's the thing.
I think
Will Celtic pay that? Will they pay that for him?
Of course you do now. I mean, now
he's an international striker, of course.
but let's be honest, now
Celtic are tight with money.
6 million now is 3 million 2 years ago.
I know.
I mean, look at Rangers. Chamiti, 8 million. We would not have spent 8 million on a project striker.
No, you can't.
But even now, even Chukwani, that cost 4.3 million. See, back in the day, a player for the Austrian league, good level, Strumgratz, right? That's 2 million. That's 2 million max.
Yep.
Right. And I'm not saying he's a good player. He's a title winner at Strumgratz. But even back in the mid 90s, the noughties, a player playing in the Austrian league at Strumgratz, title winner, top international player, whatever, 2 million. Now it's 4 million.
Aye.
And let's be honest, Kieran Bowie was 6 million for Hibs.
I know
he's a project striker.
That's just mental money.
And some of the prices, I mean, Masmanishi, apparently Motherwell want 6 million.
I wouldn't pay that for maybe 4, but no 6.
Elijah Just, apparently they're wanting 5 to 7 million.
Right.
I even heard, you might laugh at this, Rangers inquired about Claudio Braga.
Right.
How much do you think they were told? This is just a rumour. £10 million.
I thought that.
10 million pound.
Well, now, get 10. I don't think they'll get 10. They'll maybe get 10 off a daft English club that will just pocket change.
Brighton would make the most sense, wouldn't it? Tony Bloom thing.
Aye.
That'd be smart. But what I'm saying is, how can they not say 10 million when they look at Rangers spending that on Chamiti? I know it wasn't 10 million up front, but you get my point.
Is that allowed, but with a conflict of interest because he's got the two clubs?
Yeah, because we can sign up with the Leeds, but you still have to pay the money.
Right.
And he doesn't own Hearts. He's invests in them, and it's the whole Jamestown analytics. And
He must be a shareholder. He must be a shareholder as well.
He's a shareholder, but it's not. As long as you're not, it's dual ownership. That's really be a problem, and that's why I remember Rangers had to get people off our board because it can cause.
Parag Marathi.
It can cause conflict. I mean, he's still making decisions, but it's just in the background and not legally.
But well, as I said, we'll come.
I will be back on Friday, and I think it's going to be mental. I really do. I think
it will be.
I don't know what it's going to do for our tickers. I really don't. I think we're going to be an absolute. Do you know what? We're going to need a good few weeks before that World Cup. But I'm glad I'm going on holiday though, because I think the season finishes 16th of May. Usually we've got the cup final 23rd. I'm away on the 5th of June, so I need that relaxation break. But I mean, I'm got a salute with the kids. It's going to be fucking mental with roller coasters and that's right. But, so I'm not going to get a relaxing holiday. But
but if we finish off with the Michael Stewart,
yeah, so Michael Stewart. Yeah, I mean, I've got to admit, right? I'm not a big fan of him, right? I think he talks a lot of shite. Right?
No, I like him. I think I think he talks sense.
Well,
he's the only one that does.
He does go
Speaks
too
the
far.
Truth.
He goes too far sometimes. He's
enough.
often called. I mean, call him what he is, right? Terrible at his job. Not good enough. But is he corrupt? That's the problem. Is Michael Stewart crosses the line of certain language, right? I don't think Willie Collum's corrupt. I think he's incompetent. In fact, I don't think many of the refs I don't think any of them are really corrupt, right? Yes, do some of them have Celtic leanings? Do some have Rangers leanings? Yes, they do.
Shite.
Quite clearly, right? But they're shite. On top of that.
That's the reason why none of them are going to the World Cup.
None of them are going to the World Cup. And I think we either need to invest in making them full-time, give it a year and see if they get better. If they don't, we need to start looking at outsourcing.
Bringing in
go and get some English ones.
refs.
I bet you, right, the refereeing in League 1 and League 2 in England are
Oh, they're
better
far better. They
than we
will
have.
be. They will be.
Because let's be
Aye.
honest, some of the standard of footballers better down there.
Mhm.
So why wouldn't the referees be? You know, and
I know.
it might be something that Scotland need to look at, because let's be honest, right? If you, in your business, right, you work at a company, right, you might be based in Glasgow, right, but you don't need to be Scottish. Go
I
and
know.
get the best person and make them move up here and live here.
That's right. Yep.
Simple. And let's be honest, see if you lived in Newcastle, right, and you were a referee
Mhm.
and you get called to a game in London, that's further
Yeah.
away than it would be to go to Glasgow.
To Glasgow. I know.
So you might not need to move if you're a
Mhm.
northern-based one.
What did you make of the whole Michael Stewart in the car park?
I thought it
I
was
know.
hilarious, and I think credit to Premier Sports though, because regardless of what you think of the guy, right, you might think he's a toolbox, you might love him, right, but at least they've done the right thing, right? They've backed him up, and that's what they should do. Because see, if it was Sky Sports and
Mhm.
Sutton or
Boyd.
Boyd were getting told, they shouldn't be not allowed into stadiums because people don't like what they have to say. At the end of the day, they're paid to give their opinions.
But I think Sutton can't go to Ibrox because he's for
I
his safety.
can.
What
It
that
wasn't that. It was just.
nonsense?
It was something goes to Ibrox all the time. He was at Ibrox early
Aye,
in the season. The
but what
problem is
is
that in one of those games, right, Rangers couldn't guarantee his safety because was it? It was back when what was it? They wanted him to be pitch side,
right?
and they felt Rangers security team. By the way, it's just some ball-bag who can't do their job properly, right? Has over, it's like those arseholes with a clipboard. Do you know what I mean? That
Aye.
over analyzes things and
Mhm.
said that he couldn't guarantee their security because people might throw things at him. See, when he's sitting in the gantry doing commentary, don't you think that they could throw something at him then?
Of course I could.
You're
Aye.
right next to the fans.
Mhm.
So I think, honestly, I don't think that was a Rangers thing. I think that was some idiot with a clipboard. But and we've all got them. We've all got those people in health and
Aye.
safety. It
But I
goes,
mean,
you go,
did,
fuck, what? Why?
how long is he banned for? Is he only the one weekend, or is he when's he back, or what is it?
Apparently it's indefinite at
Is it?
Hampden. But
Oh,
luckily,
Hampden.
all the games in the World Cup and stuff are in America.
Aye.
So
So and
and
plus he can still.
he's only really got the Scottish Cup final.
But if he's working for BBC, can he not just sit in the studio? If there's like the Scottish Cup final, if he works for BBC, he does work for BBC
He
as
could,
well. So
but I
and
think
he'll
he's.
still do sports scene. He'll still be on that.
But Premier Sports, at the end of the day, Premier Sports should put their foot down. It's
They
called the
should.
Premier Sports Cup, right? And do you know
Aye.
what they should do?
Mhm.
What's our cup? We'll play at
That's right.
Ibrox.
Aye, that's it.
Because we can't play at Celtic Park, obviously, because Celtic are in it. But why couldn't they just play at
You mean the
Murrayfield?
Scottish Cup, not the
That's
Premier
it.
Sports Cup?
Well, aye, but they still sponsor it, do they not? Oh, is it
No, it's
William
Scottish
Coolers?
Gas that sponsor the Scottish
Right,
Cup.
okay.
It's the Premier Sports Cup. Is a league
Even
cup.
still, their main contributors though, they still put money in
Aye, they
by
do.
showing the games. So I
That's
would
right.
I would tell them where to go and say
Exactly. I've got Michael Stewart's one of your employees, so
exactly. And you can void the contract then.
aye,
And
exactly.
by the way, I'd love to see finals be played away for Hampden, if I'm honest. Because
It's a
how
it's a
depressing was
it's a
that? Like
it's a
watching the
horrible stadium.
Falkirk Dunfermline game, a half-empty stadium.
Exactly. It's no
Why
good.
didn't they just play that at Easter Road and get it, or Tynecastle and get it
Aye,
banging?
somewhere
Because
close to
by
where
the way,
they are. You
those
know what I mean?
those two sets of fans, right, are great fans, right? I'm not going to diss them, right? But they couldn't make the atmosphere in a big stadium where it's half full. Whereas if you were at Tynecastle, as I said, they'd fill it up. And let's be
Aye,
honest,
but
we know what Tynecastle's like full. You could have given them half the stadium each. And let's
aye,
be honest,
because
is
I
Edinburgh
think
that far
too far
away
away.
from Falkirk and Dunfermline? It's not
Well,
far away at all.
Falkirk and Dunfermline travelling through to Glasgow. I mean, that's quite a bit of a distance, isn't it? It's a
It's
trek.
no further to go to Edinburgh.
I know.
So, in fact, it's probably closer, if we're honest.
Uh-huh.
But no, I think there should be more common sense with things like that.
Aye.
I think whenever it's like you see if it'd been St Mirren against Greenock Morton, like
Mhm.
Play it somewhere at Motherwell maybe where you can get a full stadium. It's
It's
just
different if
madness.
Celtic and Rangers are in the
Yeah, of
semis and
course.
they're playing against two different teams. Then you know that the stadiums are
Yeah,
going to be full. But
yeah.
these
And
other
I've
teams
always
don't
said,
seem to
see
fill the
if it's a
stadium.
Hibs Hearts Scottish Cup final, play it at
Aye.
Murrayfield. Why the
Well,
fuck are they going through to Glasgow
I know you're right. You're right.
when
It's
they could?
closer.
I mean, they could fill Murrayfield. Like, let's be honest, for a final, because you
Depends
always
on
get
if there's rugby on that day. If there's no rugby on at Murrayfield, then you're all right.
but you always get that extra 20,000 to turn up to finals.
Mhm.
It happens. But
Aye.
all right, we'll leave it there, and we'll be back on Friday.
Mhm.
We'll see if there's any more talking points. I'm sure by then we'll have had all the press conferences, injury updates, things like that. So
Yep.
I'm sure there'll be things to talk about. But yep, should
Aye.
be fun.
Yep. Um,
Right, well, I'll see
see if
you
our tickers
Friday,
can
and
take it.
just enjoy. I enjoy these next few days about football
I
because
know.
come Saturday we're going to be fucking all over the shop again.
Right back in it again.
Saturday, Sunday, it's going to be mental.
Mm-hmm.
Right,
Right.
well, I'll catch you later. Right,
Right. See you later, mate.
right,
Right.
bye.
Bye bye.